Hey, man, I want to welcome you to the Cronkite Show in social media history without the tonight. And I want to scream at my boy. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq, Queen Demetri K. And I am the 5-star general. You notice tonight I'm not at my computer, but that's okay. Because I'm live in Austin, Texas. I'm at Fogo de Chao. It's beautiful your Republican homies take care of you, baby. Come in here, do your thing, man. But I'm out in Austin. I got to testify in the morning about election fraud and got to be at Capitol. I think I got to be there like 7 in the morning. So, that's where I'm at today. And I apologize for being late, y'all, because it wasn't my intention. This meeting popped up at the last minute. But we here. What's going on, Donovan?
Hey, welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Warzone. We are glad to have you. You guys, do me a favor, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Let's get this information out. This is the only show, social media, new black media, that actually puts the general on the front lines while the troops sit behind and let him do his work. He leads from the front, not from the back. So I just want to hit you guys on what's going on. We're going to talk about the Chauvin case in a minute. Very telling stuff that was going on there, and it was really, really interesting. But Joe Biden announced his $2.something trillion bill. Talk about corporate tax is going to pay for it. Good luck. He said it's not going to happen overnight. Once again, you kick the can down the road, and then by the time he's out of office, he ain't responsible. When Joe Biden was talking about building the middle class, this is what he was talking about. Most black people ain't middle class. These jobs that he's trying to introduce is for his people, the white folks, the disenfranchised white kid that can't provide for his family like his dad did and his grandfather did. Trillions of our tax dollars. This has nothing to do with black people. So we got that going. And then since we're talking about the case, I just want to get you guys out here. Just before we came on air, I went on my show and I just disproved what a lot of you guys keep saying is not true. The Congressional Black Caucus has said nothing in regards to this case. Their whole thing is getting needles in your arm and an everybody agenda. And then, somebody came on my page talking about Joe Biden has done more for everybody. And I said, okay, that's fine. I agree with you. He's done for everybody. I said, if he's done for everybody, could you specifically tell me in that everybody policy, how did black people benefit? Haven't heard from her since. Demetra?
So hello, everybody. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday so far, middle of the week, hump day, as they would say. As you guys can see, Gary is there in Austin, Texas at the Capitol. And I guess he'll tell us a little bit about what he's doing there. And of course, we are going to continue covering the Derek Chauvin murder trial. You guys don't know if you've been living under a rock. He is on trial for murdering George Floyd. So, Gary, you want to start with what you're doing first, or you want to lead with the trial?
Well, I'll just give them a brief synopsis of what I'm doing. I had to fly in yesterday and drove down to Austin today. And I got to testify in the morning in reference to the voter fraud that I've seen. Is this legitimate? Because the last election was supposed to be the most secure election in the history of elections, and that's straight up bullshit in Harris County. So, the thing is I'm in Austin and I have to testify, and then, of course, Friday afternoon, I fly back to Minnesota so that we can still have our live coverage of that trial and continue to work with the community. But tomorrow, I'm going to just tell both of y'all, because I love both of y'all, your boy, leave it on the floor. I'm going to leave it on the floor because I'm sick of these people playing with my democracy. I can't speak for anybody else and how they feel. I can only speak for how I feel. And when I walk out of my front door and I still see my community looking the same way it did 40 years ago, I have a problem. And these people are continuously cheating, doing what they need to do. And if that's the way you're going to do it, and I'm steady trying to talk to you, I know who I need to talk to. So I'm going to go stand in front of this committee on election fraud. And I'm going to tell you right now, they finna shake the game up, bruh. Next week, next Thursday, not tomorrow, next Thursday, they'll have a discussion in the House again over biometrics. And you're going to have to put your fingerprint into this thing to be able to do it. It's a reason why they're doing it. It's a reason why they're doing it. I get it. I understand totally. It's too much to discuss tonight because I really want to focus on what we want to talk about, which is the Chauvin trial. But I'm telling y'all that in order to change this system, you're going to have to do the same thing. Get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to go to city council meetings. You're going to have to go to school board meetings. You're going to have to testify at your state capitol. I'm going to do my part. And whether they like it or not, Mr. Monroe going to leave it on the floor tomorrow morning in the Texas state capitol.
All right. So we're going to stay tuned for that. And so let's go ahead and jump into it. So this is day 3 of the Derek Chauvin murder trial. He murdered George Floyd on May 25th of 2020 last year. You guys remember the protests of 2020 in the summer, where pretty much all hell broke loose when everybody got a chance. Well, almost everybody got a chance to see the video that was captured of Derek Chauvin kneeling on the neck of George Floyd, as we know now, for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. Originally, it was thought to be 8 minutes and 46 seconds, but it was actually a little bit longer. Also, there are 3 other officers that will be facing trial. They're not on trial with Derek. He's standing alone because, I guess he was considered, the biggest offender in that equation, if you will. But today we got to see a couple of witnesses, and I'm just going to talk about a few that really stuck out, and then we can go ahead and discuss it. Now, I will tell you guys, admittedly, today was the first day that I saw the video in its entirety, because it's hard for me to watch that kind of stuff. And so as I was watching it, I really wasn't even trying to watch it. I was listening and, doing some other stuff. And then a gentleman by the name of Charles McMillan, an older gentleman, he caught my attention. And so I, sat down and listened to his testimony, and they were having him watch and listen to the video because he was walking up the street when they were trying to put George into the vehicle. And he kept telling him, you can't win, just basically do what they say and all of that. And he also was there to witness Derek Chauvin pin George to the ground and put his knee on his neck. And so as Mr. McMillan was watching the video, he broke down, just couldn't take it anymore. And I must admit, I broke down too, because I had never seen it. And just to see that older man cry like that, it was just too much for me, because I'm like, as an older man in America, older Black man in America, imagine all of the things that he has already seen, and then have to see that, and not only to see it, but to get on the stand and have to relive it. I mean, they have to go to a recess. In fact, the defense didn't even cross-examine him. Probably thought, well, we don't want to look like a douchebag, cross-examining this guy who, had a breakdown. A grown man had a breakdown. So that was hard to watch. And then before that, there was a witness by the name of Christopher Martin. He was actually the one who, he was a clerk in the store. He had been there for about a month and a half, for what they say. But he's the one that initially received the $20 bill. And he told his boss, now, this is what I kind of raised an eyebrow. The boss told the young kid, he was, I think, 17 at the time, go out to the car and get the and bring George back in here. So he tried to go, but George didn't want to go. And so they went out there and he still didn't want to go. Then they called the police on him, and then you guys know, the rest. But, Christopher says that he has guilt. He says, because what if I would have, taken the money? Just, basically what most witnesses said, they have a lot of remorse and regret and nightmares and a whole host of other things. Now, another thing that they did was they had he was a video specialist or something like that from the department. And they had him look at all of the body cams and the cameras from the store and all of it. And so what I'm saying is, they had him look at all of those videos, and they played all of those videos from the beginning to the end, from every viewpoint, okay? From every viewpoint. So that means that whoever watched or listened, including the jury and everybody else in that room, had to watch and listen to that horrible lynching over and over and over again. And another thing that was very telling is that Derek Chauvin just sat there and doodled on his paper like, And before I'm done here, one of the angles of the videos that they actually was his body cam. They said it was the first time that anybody had ever heard Derek's voice was from his body cam after he murdered George Floyd. And Mr. McMillan walked up to the car and, you know, basically called him a maggot and said, you know, you go home to your family. You should make sure everybody else goes home to your family, their family. And Derek was like, well, he was a big guy. He wouldn't get in the car. And he said it just probably more calm than I said. Now, mind you, this is after he murdered a grown man with his knee on his neck. And I don't know if you guys also got a chance to see when George was laying on the ground, you saw him, you know, relieve himself. You know, usually those things happen when a person is dying. And so that dude is a monster. And I hope the prosecution uses his cool, calm demeanor against him. So
It was, you know, I saw it when it first happened. And it was telling. And it was emotional. And that's, you know, that night I saw it. That's when I made the decision to go to Minneapolis. You know, I can feel in spirit that these people were not comfortable with what they saw. I don't like this judge. I'm being honest with y'all. I don't like this judge. And I'm telling you that mistrial is in my brain because it's judge. I just see something not panning out with it. But the older gentleman, he definitely got to me. I was able to watch it when I was on the ride, and I'm sorry that you had to watch it, but eventually you had to. But now you can see why everybody is up in arms. Because I'm gonna be honest, if this was a black officer on trial for doing this to a white kid or to a white young man, this would be open and shut. We wouldn't be going through all of this. But I see that the defense. I see that the defense is trying to put everybody on trial except for Chauvin. And I think that's a play out of Johnny Cochran's old book. He put everybody else on trial except for the person that needs to be on trial. And I don't like it. I don't like this judge. I'm being honest with y'all. I don't trust him. I don't like him. You continue cutting off the witnesses. And this is a very passionate case. So these people are going to say a little bit more than what needs to be said. But if the jury can't see what we see, then something is totally, totally wrong. And to me, it's just open and shut. But I don't trust this judge.
You know, in regards to the older gentleman that was testifying, you know, it kind of broke my heart, and it made me feel bad. Not for the simple fact of, you know, we all saw what we saw, and I feel bad about that. But it makes me feel bad because when he said that, you know, he only had a third grade education. Look at all of the opportunity that he probably was denied with the systematic racism and all this stuff that goes on in this country. And before we came on air, like I said before, I did an expose to see what our Black leaders are doing, the so-called Congressional Black Caucus. Not one statement, not one feeling. And I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're not making statements. But as a collective group, you should be initiating legislation right now to keep Black people from getting killed by the very people that are sworn to protect us. Asians get knocked in the head and they get legislation immediately. So I'm getting a little upset because people keep telling me if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. Well, we're at the table and we're still on the menu. And it's just a sad commentary that our so-called leaders are silent. And when you're silent, that is an absolute complicit in what's going on. They should be on the front lines making statements. I don't want to hear Al Sharpton. He isn't elected. Al Sharpton is not elected. Ben Crump is not elected. I want people that are elected by us to represent us, to make statements for us. That is why they're there. And they're doing absolutely nothing. And it's just, you know, the fix is in. I just have a feeling that the fix is in, because if you saw that video and how calm and nonchalant that dude was, I mean, I just can't, you know, cold blood. To me, that was just cold blood. Murder one.
The city of Minneapolis has a history of law enforcement murdering innocent people. I also found out that the city of Minneapolis has had several riots similar to what happened with Judge because they did this to several different families. They've allowed this to happen to several different families. The older gentleman, let me tell you something, man. You guys are privileged to be able to do the things you're able to do today. Like tonight, I'm at Fogo de Chao in Austin, Texas. In the 60s, I'd have never been able to eat here. That man has seen in his lifetime, we've never seen it. What he's experienced as a black man, we've never experienced it. So I think it took him back to the Jim Crow era of what they thought. You know, qualified immunity was created to protect police officers during the 60s. You know, that's when it was created to protect them with the things that they were doing. So this is not the first time that he's seen law enforcement murder a man, you know, in cold blood. We just happen to get to see it live and in living color. You know, they can't get around it now. So they're trying to put everybody else on trial, which that's what I feel. I don't trust the judge. That's been in my brain all day, that I don't trust this judge. And I don't see this trial going the way that it needs to go. And people will say, well, why you feel that way? Now, you took 27 million, homie. You think you're going to get the 27 million and justice? No, it ain't going to work. That's why I sent a shout out, even though they going through it, to Trayford Pellerin's family. Ain't no settlement. They want justice. We'll deal with that money later, but we want these cops. And I think if we stick to that blueprint, then we'll see some things move. We'll see some changes. But right now, that older gentleman, God bless him, man, because, you know, he went through a lot. He's been going through a lot. You know, even the jurors, you had to have a juror removed today. And, you know, it's the emotional part of it. That's why I'm telling you that mistrial. And them jurors will be able to make that decision without being afraid that somebody's going to figure out their identity. They have to live there. And if you don't convince, man, maybe these jurors might be targeted. You know what I'm saying? Because it's as bad as Philando Castile, but, you know, they even murdered Philando live on camera. You know what I'm saying? So Minneapolis Police Department it's a murderous situation out there. I'm there, I see it, but I can tell you what, the natives ain't letting it go down like that. Whatever they think they gonna do, the natives ain't going for it.
Yeah, so also with the older gentleman, Mr. McMillan, they had to stop and go to recess because I believe the prosecution, she asked him, you know, what's going on, what are you feeling? And he says, you know, I had a mother. My mother's not here anymore either, as he was, you know, sobbing. And I guess maybe the defense objected to that. And so that's partially why they went to break as well. And so, you know, I think he saw himself in George Floyd, as a lot of the witnesses said. You know, I see my father, my cousin's brother, you know, in the George Floyd case, and a lot of them felt like there was more they should have done. What could they have done? And they'll never live that down. And another thing too, you guys may have noticed during the videos, while Derek Chauvin had his knee on George's neck, he also, so you guys know that George was in handcuffs, and you can see Derek lifting his hands up, you know, as he's behind his back, as he's in handcuffs. And so I was looking at Sean King's page, and he says he believes he was doing it. You know, his intentions to kill George by applying that move. You guys go back and watch it. You'll see where because I saw it too, where he's lifting his hands up as he's choking him. The other thing that I want to know, and I'm serious about this, is, are Black people still going to Cup Foods? Are we still going in and out of that store that is responsible for the onset of George Floyd's murder? Because we are talking about a $20 bill, to which I don't know, have we gotten the answer if the money was even fake yet? And if it was, if you guys watch the video, because a lot of it they showed for the first time today, when the first officer on the scene went up to George, actually he went up to his friend, the guy in the car, then he goes to George and he pulls his gun out right away. And so you could tell George was like, hey, what's going on? So just me, I don't know if you guys, but I didn't even get the sense that George knew what was going on fully, even as he, lie on the ground dying. I don't think he got a full understanding, because they kept saying for fraud, for the $20 bill, they kept saying fraud and this, that, and the other. And so I don't know. I just don't get the feeling that George knew what the deal was. But even if the bill was a fraudulent bill, is that how you do people? I mean, just the whole, they didn't go to the scene of the alleged crime. They didn't go to the scene with a calm head or any of that. They just went on there like Rambo, blazing saddles. And so where did they think that was going to go from there?
Well, you made a tell when you discussed, are these people still patronizing that store? Yes, they are. That store sits on a very unique corner. You got Cup Food right there. And across the street, you got a gas station that's abandoned by the owners. They don't want it anymore. And then across from that, you have a church. Now, the church is ran by some pastor that used to be a Blood gang member. The Bloods control the neighborhood. Cup Foods is used as a storage area for them to sell the drugs out the back door in the alley. So now you tell me why Foods ain't closed down. Yeah, they still going in there. And I'm going to tell you something. You Negroes that's going in there, you the problem. You the problem. You take our money out of the store. These people have a very nasty attitude. They've been having it with the community for years, African Americans. And you keep going in that store like they're cool with you. No, they're not cool with you. You don't have to go there. But that's the reason we can't get anything changed, because these people can do anything they want to us, and we just continue to patronize them.
I don't know if you guys saw, in the start of the video, did you see how George Floyd was kind of happy and joking at the beginning, and it was just a regular day? And I looked at that video and I said, how can a day go so wrong? And what they're not showing you is, and I know Fayetteville has some good comments and stuff like that, but this is what I'm saying when it comes to our Black leaders and why we need our Black leadership to stand up. Didn't Martin Luther King fill the jails in Birmingham? Didn't he use children to do it? When the momentum is there, that's when you have to use your political muscle in conjunction to an incident that is happening to us as a whole. So now is the time to do that. Asians get hit in the head one time, all of a sudden, they need legislation and they need protection. We've been going through this for over 400 years. So politically, this is the time to demand for legislation, why people are on our side, why people are sympathetic to what is happening to us. Because unlike Asians, they're not being beat up by police officers. They're being beat up by regular white people. We're being killed by the people who have the authority by the state. That's the problem. So politically, we have to do something about that. And then, we got to keep that momentum going. And then here's what really could help us politically. It could help us politically. Did anybody notice the minute the first officers arrived on that scene? They didn't know what was going on. They didn't say it was a code 4 or emergency or something like that, right? They were told that it's a bill and whatever. He approached the car with his gun already out. If that was a white person, would that have happened? If that was an Asian, would that have happened? How many of us deal with these police officers and they already have their gun pulled or they got their hand on their gun unholstered? How many of us done that? And that is why we need our political leaders to use these examples of why we need to do something about these rogue ass cops.
Well, let me tell you something, man. We can make all the stops. We either got to take our money out of their communities or we got to start fighting back. That's all it boils down to. It's only two ways to make it stop. Not too much to make it slow down, but to make it stop. When they're not getting any money out of us, then guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna go change whatever law they change to satisfy the status quo, and it's gonna go from there, and we'll see the change that we deserve. But when you don't want to stop patronizing a fucking store, that the reason that this man is dead, then it's not gonna change. It's not going to change, and I wouldn't wish that type of death on anybody. That was horrible. It was methodical. You see what I'm saying? You know, and you know that there was some deep rooted issues between George and Chauvin. You know, maybe it may come out in the trial, but there had to be some deep rooted issues for that man to do what he did. Because at a certain point, you can feel him not moving anymore. And you're on his neck. You weren't afraid. You wasn't looking around to look over your back. You wasn't doing none of that. You know what I'm saying? So all the lies that they telling, you know, the defense attorney trying to make the witnesses out to be a liar. You know, these witnesses are standing 10 toes down. I applaud them because you can't shake some of them. They're not afraid of you. You can't shake them. But I just know that the system, the way it's designed, 9 times out of 10 he walks. If I'm a betting man in Vegas and I know they taking bets on this thing, you know, you might want to bet on black on this one.
So I want to address a few things. So they also said that Derek Chauvin did this to a 14-year-old in 2017. Steve, I hope I'm saying his last name right, Antoine, I hope I'm saying it right. He actually sent me some stuff, you know, talking about what he did to a 14-year-old in 2017. He said he did the same thing. And he also sent me a picture. He says, if you notice one of the officers, the brother, by the last name was King. It's spelled Kueeng, but it's pronounced King. It appears that he's laughing as they're holding George down. It looks very much so like he is laughing. And Fayetteville, how you doing this evening? I see your comment. He says the video showed that Floyd was high and did pass a fake bill. So did he start the onset of by what he did? Okay, let me just take your question. The first question. First, how did that video indicate that he was high? And how did that video indicate that he passed a fake $20 bill? Because yeah, from what I know, I don't know if there was any sound. It just looks like there was visuals. But how many people have actually been given a counterfeit bill? I've got one before from a store. My daughter's got one from the lunch lady. My brother's gotten one. So how do we know that even if the bill was fake, which even that sounds like the clerk didn't know, but how do we know that he knew it was fake? People get past counterfeit bills all the time. Like when I get a 20, I'm not looking to see if it's real. I just assume it's real, right? So, and then you say, if we blame cup foods, justice will only happen if we keep our feelings but control our emotions. No. In my opinion.
Let me say this here. A 20, right, Dimitri? Whether it was fake or not. These motherfuckers killed King when he stole billions of dollars from Enron. You stole these people pensions, they 401ks, all billions of dollars. And we talking about a dead man for a $20 bill?
Right. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the other part of it. Even if it was fake, I mean, I don't know when the last time that cost you your life, you know, and it sounds like they had an axe to grind with him anyway. I mean, and then, you know, the other part too, he kept saying I'm claustrophobic. I had COVID. And I'm like, look how little that car was in comparison to him. I mean, he literally went in one end and slid out the other side of the car. And so as I'm watching the video, I'm like, well, why didn't they at least try to calm him down first? Why didn't they do all they could?
Yeah. Well, you know, why couldn't they let him sit on the sidewalk? That's what I'm saying. What was the rush to do all that? They had all the time in the world, all of it.
Yeah, they want.
Once again, you have a situation where you needed a mental health expert at that scene. You needed somebody that deals with mental health at that scene. And they don't have that in law enforcement. And, you know, these people show up with murder on their mind. They show up with murder on their mind. It's what it is, man. You killed him. You killed him in front of everybody. Now you're trying to justify why you did it. But you don't have the justification. He was not a threat.
Right. And so I want to catch the rest of hers. It says, if we blame cup foods, justice will only happen if we keep our feelings but control our emotions. No. Black people, we've been too docile for a very long time. They, being the oppressor and everybody else, they count on us turning the other cheek. We gonna get over, get by and kumbaya, we shall overcome. No. I know that worked probably, you know, and no disrespect to you, Miss Fayetteville, that probably worked for you guys to some degree in your day, but we are far past that. We as Black people are being murdered wholesale in the middle of the street, where our babies are not even safe from seeing it. As you guys watch the video too, you can see the little 9-year-old. She's, you know, as this is going on, she just trying to control herself. She's like jumping up and down, almost like, you know, like, stop, what are you doing? And so that baby will forever see that in her mind for the rest of her life. But you want us to be docile and do what? Not being docile has not helped us as Black people in America. I mean, we've been taught that lesson forever. You know, even in the churches, and I don't know about you, Fayetteville, but the churches that we go to, the message is turn the other cheek, obey your master. Oh, you know, you just wait for it. You know, when you go to heaven, you'll be washed white as snow and the pie in the sky, and just, you know, wait on it. No, we tired of that. We are tired of waiting on it. We are tired of being emotionless. And Donovan, to your point, as far as, you know, people sympathizing with us and helping us, that day is over. Nobody's sympathizing and helping Black people because Black people need to help Black people. Period. No Asians. That's what this whole little Asian, stop Asian thing was about, to alienate Black people. So when this thing comes down the pipes of not guilty, God forbid it does, then it's going to get a lot of communities to say, well, they out there attacking Asians. And I saw an article today where it says Asians regret standing with us during the Black Lives Matter. Like, well, first of all, when did you do that? Because, you know, it might have been one or two of you out there, but you didn't do that overall. And so I'm like, well, then our Black asses need to regret spending our money with them. But we are all we have. There's nobody coming to save us. There's no politicians coming to save us. No other races are coming to save us. They've made it clear over and over and over again, we do not want to unify with you. You don't have anything we need, Negroes. So we are all we have. We have to save ourselves.
Killing a Black man in front of a child is a repeat of the 60s. I keep telling people we live in a segregated society every single day. And the things that they were doing in the 60s, they're repeating it. They're getting more bolder. And guess what we're doing? We're sitting in a corner and praying to God that it stops. Now, as far as the Asians, you regret standing with us, fuck you. I'm gonna just tell you how I feel. I didn't see you there standing with us like talking about it, because you live in your own world. You don't care anything about us. And I'm like you. Nobody's coming. The minister has said it a million times. Nobody is coming to save us at all.
You know, I put it up, I think it was yesterday, one of my greatest heroes that I love to death, Stephen Biko, he said, Black man, you're on your own. You know, and until we realize that, you know, as much as I put up, you know, Black women stay out of these stores, stop shopping, giving your money to that. I have friends that take their granddaughters there and do all that. And, you know, and if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But do not get upset when your grandson gets murdered in the street because we didn't take action now. Now is our window to get something done. But the fact of the matter is we are on our own. And, you know, we can sit here and be like, well, you know, Fayetteville, we've been telling you what our plan is. Give us our reparations and leave us the F alone. That's the plan. If we could leave here, we would leave. But again, we get misrepresented by a generation of people who will not leave those seats. And that's fine if they want to stay there and do nothing, because we know they're doing nothing. And this is a new generation. It's not going to happen. If you don't arm yourself now, when this thing blows a powder keg, because Demetria and I were here during the Rodney King riots, and it was like World War III down there. I mean, remember the rumor? Oh, they're in Riverside. They're rioting in Riverside, and they were moving, toward the San Bernardino shopping mall, and it was just crazy. That's what's going to happen because these kids have nothing to look forward to. What worked in the 60s, and like I said, God bless those people, but y'all need to sit y'all asses down and let us do what we need to do for ourselves. Cut, done, that's it. We're done.
Nobody's coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. If the Asians feel that way, why don't you take your businesses and get out of neighborhoods? We don't like you, just get out of our neighborhoods. That's how I feel about it.
And also, so you guys have been hearing about the Asian attacks. There was 2 of them that took place, over the weekend. One of them, you guys may have seen the black man. He beat the stuffing out of the man that called him the N-word. Now they was running around talking about, oh, black people are attacking Asians. Turned out the dude was Mexican. He wasn't even Asian. But they was running around talking about, oh, black people attacking Asians and all this other stuff. And then this one reporter, I forget her name, but, she was just going full speed ahead with the black people attacking Asians. And they was like, you were wrong. And then she was like, well, that could have been my son. And they was like, so what you saying? That could have been your son calling people niggas? And then she took it all down and, oh, I'm so sorry. I know better. And so the point that I'm making with all of that is they are forcing this narrative that it is black people that's attacking Asians because they are, listen, I don't know everything, but sometimes they do call me Nostradamus. They are trying to set black people up to be alienated with no friends. As John Henry Clark said, we have no friends. And they're trying to make sure that is the case by putting this on the backs of black people. But this particular tweet that I put up on my page, and I want to just briefly read it to you really quick. And I saw it as I was on Twitter, and it said the following, because they're blaming black people for what's going on with Asians. Who started the Opium Wars? The Chinese Exclusion Act, bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, put Japanese in internment camps, bombed North Korea, Vietnam. Who recently shot up the massage parlors, killing 6 Asians? Hint, it wasn't black people. Then another guy says, and don't forget the colonization of Burma, Myanmar, occupation of India, Vietnam, and the Philippines and beyond. So basically what these brothers were saying, don't forget who the real oppressor is. And now the real oppressor is trying to put what they've been doing on the backs of black people over a few isolated incidents. But you never once heard any of these people talk about what the Asians have done to black people and still do to black people in our neighborhoods. And so black people, you would be wise to not fall for this mess. Stay on code. Don't allow, because I see a lot of black people wavering like, oh, this look what this. It's wrong. It's wrong. And I'm not
Maxine Waters.
Well, all of them. I'm not saying it's right. That I'm not saying. But what I'm saying is don't abandon your black people because the white media told you to do it. They never been a friend of black people. So get wise and get on code, black people.
Yeah, I always challenge people, especially, and Dimitri will tell you, I was raised in Okinawa, Japan. So I was raised in Asia. I have a lot of Asian friends. Any one of them ever challenges me, I always tell them, show me in any incident where a black person, in the incidents that they put on TV, that a black person was the culprit. They never say that. And the reason why they go with this narrative within their culture, they have colorism. I think all cultures have a colorism type thing. And the darker you are, that's like the bad thing or whatever, especially in the Asian culture. but yet they set their businesses up in our communities. If you want to see this narrative change within that Asian culture, stop spending your money with them. This is a prime time for you to open your black hair business, your black salon, and let's keep our dollars in our community. Once they ain't making no money, because let's face it, white folks ain't gonna go into their shops. White folks ain't going over there. They're done. They're gonna be done. Sisters, I'm telling you guys, please stop taking your granddaughters and your sisters and stop going into these shops, because I'm not gonna go in there and take an ass whipping or catch a case because of your stupidity.
Man, it's emotional when you see what we've been through and then where we are. I'm gonna read Fayettevilles comment. I will not respond in anger. I'll sit your old asses down. Instead, I will say, I will be glad when angry black people will stop talking loud and do nothing. Okay, so what are we supposed to be doing? Because praying ain't working. We've been praying forever, and they still hanging us, beating our heads in and shooting us. And we played the non-violent game, and yet they still hanging us and shooting us and killing us. So what's the plan? Because we keep running the same goddamn play, especially for the last 20 years, and we still getting the same results. No, it's time to stop singing and start swinging.
Absolutely. And Fayetteville, that I did not tell you to sit your old ass down. I I know better than that. But I understand why that would make you mad. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's very disheartening, the state of Black people, because it doesn't have to be this way. We have no friends, and we are always trying to be a friend to other people. A friendship works both ways. It's a two-way street. Anything else is just abusive. And so first, we need to be a friend to ourselves. We can't be friends to anybody else until we do that to ourselves. And Marcus Garvey told us years ago, we have no business trying to go and help other people and help them get what they need until we get all that they have. And specifically, he was talking about the white man. But here we are still in 2021, still trying to jump on everybody else's bandwagon. And I hate to see and hear a Negro say, why don't they like us? Or why don't they respect us? Do you really care? Do you really care? I mean, the respect went out the window when they loaded us on those ships over 400 years ago. So at some point in time, we as Black people just have to decide that we are all we got, and we are going to save ourselves. And that's by starting, for one of the things we can do is stay out of establishments that do not like us. Like, how in the entire hell would you go spend your money with a person or a people who don't like you and are framing a narrative that it's you? You're the problem now. They're negating all of white supremacy and putting it on the backs of Black people, but yet we going up in there and getting everything you can think of. And so, I'm thinking like, I want to make it my mission after I saw that video today, because I hadn't seen it before. I was like, I've got to do something. What it is, I don't know, but I've got to do something. I've got to get out there in the streets and let our people know. I don't know if it's to stand in front of these establishments in our neighborhoods and tell our people, you have no business going. And I don't know what it is, but I know I got to do something other than what I'm doing. That's where I'm at right now.
Well, Demetria, if you see me going to the store that you're boycotting, I just want to go in there and get some zigzags. That's it. I'm going there for a quick second. Okay. No, but in all seriousness, everybody has a valid opinion, and that's all great. What Black people need to do in this Fayetteville, and anybody else that has a different idea of how you want to do it, I am with you. I am with you. If we're going to stay on code, Let's stay on code and try the plan. But I will say this, being nonviolent, that's some bullshit. It don't work. We've tried it. Let's try something different. So other than nonviolence, you want to just boycott stores, I'm for that. You want to do whatever, but whatever we decide we need to do, we need to stay on code. That's all I got to say in regards to that. We need to stay on code, whatever we decide to do.
We can stay on code, but if code getting your ass whooped, that ain't working for me. I'm not staying on code with that one. I'm gonna be the rogue in the group, man. I'm not finna lay around here and let you bust my ass and then we shall overcome. Fuck you. I'm gonna split your fucking wig. That's what I'm gonna do. I ain't the type to start drama. I'm the type to finish. So no, I think we can stay on code. And just the first thing, stop spending our money on people that don't respect and value us. Stop doing it. Why is that so fucking hard?
Yeah, and then I and I know Fayetteville's a teacher and stuff like that, and she says, I'm not mad because Donovan is not mad at me. I'm not one of those that let's pray. I'm advocating feeding ourselves and helping our youth understand that their actions can cause problems if they do not have a plan to succeed. That is perfect, but however, if their actions is caused by systematic racism, how can you blame them for reacting in a way of survival? That's my question. You can't go to this system and say, oh, wow, you guys are being unfair for me. The system wasn't created for us. So when I see people out there doing what they got to do, I don't judge them. There's going to be a penalty. There's going to be a price. But the game is rigged against us. So Fayetteville, as a teacher, how do you unteach that? Now, remember, I was in the military for a very long time. I get constant texts and emails of people who listen to my podcast or watch my show, and they go, I can't believe you're in the military. I was like, well, why would you say that? Because of my mindset. They're like, how could you be in the military with that mindset? Because I didn't fall for the brainwashing. I knew who I was. I knew where my people are at. And that's what we got to start teaching our kids, who they are, not what this system teaches, because the system is teaching them to fail.
Final thoughts, Dimitri, because I'm about to burn.
I'm about to burn out too, brother. No, my final thoughts are we're going to continue this talking about the Derek Chauvin case. As you guys know, it is ongoing. It's supposed to be going on for a couple of weeks here. So we're going to continue to bring you the coverage. And then, of course, tomorrow, are we going to have Walter on? Because I know you're going to be in Austin, right? Still?
They're telling me I should be through by noon. So, I mean, it's what it is at this point. If we can kind of center that conversation, maybe Walter can teach us how to spend our money black.
Okay. So, so
let Walter come explain to them how important it may be to spend our money black at the moment. Because if we spend our money black at the moment, we win the game.
Absolutely. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow, you guys. So please come back and tell a friend. Bring a friend with you tomorrow so that everybody else can get this information, because you guys, we are out of time and we need to change the way things are going for our people. Otherwise, your ass is going to be picking cotton and I'll probably be on the porch running for massa.
No, we're going to be in Africa. We'll be out of here.
They broken these passports.
Running away. They all both my motherfucking feet. I'll crawl out that bitch.
But my final words is this, you guys. This is what these platforms are about. We don't always have to agree. It's an exchange of ideas and and opinions. Now, some might be good, some might be bad, and that's good and great. All opinions are valid. We're not going to ride on you because you have a different mindset, and that's great, because that's what might be working for you. But I can say this: they are now killing us in the streets and our homes. They are not hiding it anymore. We need to come up with a plan. And we need legislation that is going to protect us. Our window is very, very short. Please, thank you for those that have been continuing to donate. Donate to the campaign. We're going to get a candidate into the Houston Education District that gives a damn about our kids. Be one first.
My final thoughts are simple, man. Just listen to the plan. Everybody has something they can bring to the table, and let's just execute. Like Muhammad says, it's not that it's less of us. We're just less organized. We're less organized, so we need to organize. Until tomorrow, my friends, we'll holler at y'all.